Gangs, trappers, steppers, and goons have been taking place in retirement communities for some time.
This is where one of the shootings happened. You can kind of see behind me. It's a quiet, peaceful neighborhood. In fact, it's a senior living neighborhood. It says it right there on the sign, an adult community.
Smoking the dead outside.
Retirement community drillers have no fear of the law and will blick you down in the middle of the day if the beef is up. These goons drink all day and are always whacked out of their mind from all the hard narcotics they are prescribed. They are all strapped up with blowers, and when it's wartime, these boys are quick to fill you up with slugs.
Detectives believe this shooting is connected with another shooting also well before sunrise Friday morning on Prestonwood Drive in Valrico. Investigators say two suspects wearing hoodies shot up that house.
That's what you get when the beef is up in retirement communities. Expect bloodshed and a bunch of old man packs. When these goons aren't catching bodies, they're out busting traps and making plays at the retirement community trap house.
With the arrest of 69-year-old William Jones. Jones faces more than a dozen charges, including 5 counts of fentanyl trafficking. The arrest led to the seizure of several drugs, including cocaine, oxycodone, as well as nearly $100,000.
William Jones was just your average retirement community trap god. These wrinkly goons are moving weight and making hundreds of thousands in the trap house.
A 78-year-old man has been arrested on drug trafficking charges.
The arrest of an elderly man for trafficking methamphetamine is one that was a long time coming.
78-year-old Jasper Jerry Carlin has been selling ice his whole life, and this seasoned goon never wanted to do anything but slang dope. But Jerry wasn't your average goon. He was smart and knew how to evade police. This trap god had never been arrested by police until age 78. While he might look like a grape, the fact is, even while withering away, he was still strapped up and busting traps. And if you don't get jammed up until age 78, one could argue that you had a successful trapping career. After a 6-month investigation, police arrested Jerry and 2 of his buddies with 8 ounces of ice and $1,300.
78-year-old Jasper Jerry Carlin, 55-year-old Robin Early May, and 52-year-old Keith Lamar Pitts were all arrested. Carlin told investigators he had been selling the drug for 20 years, and up until now, he had never been caught.
Wrinkled goons have been trapping for some time, and some of these goons are real-time plugs moving large amounts of weight.
A man who turned 90 today spent his birthday before a federal judge.
Leo Sharp was the big homie in the retirement community hoods. This 90-year-old goon was trapping a lot more weight than a lot of your favorite rappers could dream of.
Michigan State Police pulled over Sharp on I-94. They discovered cocaine in his car. Not a little cocaine, a lot. And it turns out he had been doing it for years.
This wrinkled goon was the El Chapo of senior citizens. Bro wouldn't speak to you if you weren't talking keys and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product.
Over the past few years, Sharp transported more than a ton of cocaine from the South into Michigan and was paid over $1 million.
Bro had made over $1 million, trapped over a ton of blow, and was cracking all the elder thoughts. Grandma goons were getting their backs blown out by Sharp, and there was nothing their wrinkly husbands could do about it. Grandma goons want a bad boy in their life, and their bingo-playing husbands just aren't cutting it. So if Sharp goes away for a significant amount of time, there is going to be a lot of unsatisfied grandma goons.
Today, his attorney argued Sharp is a war vet with no criminal history.
How does this goon possibly have 0 criminal history and he's flipped over a ton of blow and made over $1 million? Even though this dinosaur goon might pee when he sneezes, he will also serve you a kilo of blow and blick you down if you get out of pocket. And the fact this dinosaur goon never got arrested until age 90 means bro did not leave any witnesses. Granny drillers and goons are top hops in the streets and will blick you down if they feel any form of disrespect. These fossils are highly respected in their hoods. These granny goons have multiple bodies under their belt and love smoking on the dead ops.
Talk to me, auntie. How we like them ops rolled up?
Oh, the deader the better.
Oh, the deader the better.
All it takes is one call from a high-ranking granny goon and you will be rolled up with all the other dead ops. But most importantly, you have to remember granny goons are always strapped up, and if you get into an argument, it's best to walk away before becoming a new pack. For known stepper 71-year-old Patricia Whitehead, she was not the type of granny goon to go back and forth in an argument. She would rather let her blower do the talking.
71-year-old woman is accused of killing a roommate for not cleaning up after himself.
Why would someone not clean up after themselves when being in the presence of a hood legend like Patricia Whitehead?
After speaking with neighbors, we've learned this isn't the first time someone has been killed in the area.
With all these geezer goons in the area, this is not surprising at all.
News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson has the details.
It was just after 9:30 Thursday morning when Tampa police officers responded to this home after reports of a shooting. In the 1000 block of East 26th Avenue in Tampa, shots rang out and a man was killed.
If King Von was your roommate, would you not clean up after yourself? This granny goon deserved the same respect.
I hear in the news that somebody was shot.
But Otero says it's not the first time recently when people have been killed on her street, pointing just down the block where 2 makeshift memorials mark the spots others have been killed.
The reason for all these elderly packs being created. When fossilized goons are beefing, either Father Time is going to catch a body or these goons are going to speed up the process and catch their op using choppas and blowers. And there is no deadlier goon than an OG granny stepper.
This house, Tampa police say 71-year-old Patricia Whitehead got into an argument with the man who shares the same house. Police say Whitehead became angry with the victim, claiming he didn't clean up after himself.
Bro was just trying to make a pack of cereal and ended up turning into a pack.
A woman who told us she's the wife of the victim says he's been worried for some time about Whitehead.
Everyone should be afraid of Whitehead, especially the ops. This is a legendary granny goon that's always packing heat.
Whitehead is now charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. In Tampa, Jeff Patterson.
Have you guys ever dealt with a lazy maintenance worker that leaves your house leaking? A 93-year-old fossilized Las Vegas goon named Robert Thomas had gotten extremely annoyed with all the water damage in his apartment. No longer could this goon deal with the disrespect, so he took things into his own hands. This hardened goon wanted to make an example out of the maintenance worker.
Police say it's a 93-year-old Las Vegas man shooting a maintenance worker.
When will people learn that fossilized goons are always strapped up and itching to fill an op full of slugs? Grandpa Goon claims he didn't want to take the man's life, he just wanted to hit up his legs so he can smoke on a leg pack.
Alright, you guys. Okay. I just want to stir him up a little.
This is Robert Thomas in court. A lot of people want to know more about who this 95-year-old man is.
I don't want to kill the guy. I just wanted to, I shot it, I just hit him in the head.
Seems like a fair exchange, a leaking roof for a leaking leg.
In court, Thomas told the judge he was in the Navy. He said he had pneumonia in his right lung and does not have any family.
There's a lot of interesting characters. He was one.
Today, we caught up with a neighbor. He did not want to show his face on camera.
Can you blame him? You don't want to get on Thomas's bad side and have him send his boys to hunt you down on a hit?
He described Thomas as a mysterious man.
He didn't talk to anybody. He would tip his hat. He reminded me of old Vegas.
He was an old school Vegas driller. He doesn't like arguing. He would rather let his blicky do all the talking.
News of the shooting comes as a surprise. He and others say he would see him often walk out of his apartment dressed in a black suit with a hat like you see here. But nobody knew where exactly he was going.
He was obviously going to flip some yayo and hang out at the trap house with his boys.
He went out every day, probably went to a casino.
The district attorney says this case is different.
We don't have a lot of 93-year-olds that barge into an apartment office and shoot people.
He couldn't be more wrong. Grandpa Goons going on drills is much more common than you realize. The only thing uncommon here was that he aimed for a leg shot. Normally, these goons aren't aiming for anything but the head. When it's beef, fossilized goons want bodies. They're aiming for headshots only. When it's wartime, they want to split your taco and have the meat splattered all over the ground. If you want to know why the dating market is so difficult, it's because older goons are taking all the pretty girls.
Handsome, and he was charming and super flirty. And, I don't know, it just made me happy. Every time he came in, I was just so happy. So.
All girls like bad boys, and nothing turns a girl on more than a fossilized goon with a bunch of street cred.
Played some pool, and we danced, and...
Yeah, he spent the night at my house.
You boys are simping and doing the most, just so you can crack something. All it took, bro, was a round of pool, and he is back at her crib cracking and deep in those guts. While the simps are blowing up her phone, asking to hang out, bro's got his wrinkly pork sword deep inside the woman of your dreams. Older steppers and goons have been cracking so many young ladies to the point that there's barely any high-quality girls left. All the baddest girls are with fossilized goons, leaving all of us regular people with the leftovers.
I mean, I've been with guys close to my age, almost 10 years older, 15 years older, and Dawn is by far the best out of all of them.
You heard it straight from her mouth. Women would much rather a wrinkly pork sword over your average beef stick. This has been happening for years. Older steppers and goons have been stealing our wives and girlfriends, and by the time they send them back home, all the damage is done. They no longer want to get intimate with anyone under the age of 90. Average guys just can't compare to a seasoned driller. But it's not just fossilized male goons that are ruining the dating market. Grandma goons are known to date men much younger than themselves and are the reason why girls are always complaining that there aren't any good guys left. Grandma drillers typically go for men at least 25 years younger.
When I met Marilyn, I was 16.
And I was 45.
They say love is blind, and that's true.
Love is blind when it comes to granny drillers who may actually go blind within the first couple years of your relationship.
Very nice, isn't it?
Granny drillers are seasoned women and know exactly what they want. They need a younger man who can keep up with them when they are hunting their ops and going on missions. If you're not willing to let your hammer bang and fill up one of your granny's ops full of slugs, then you probably shouldn't date a granny goon.
And he does as much as he can.
At it like rabbits, you know.
And these goons have been cracking so many younger men that they changed the entire dating market in the USA.
Growing trend in relationships, older women dating younger men.
It's been called the Mrs. Robinson syndrome, older women going after much younger men. These kinds of couples have been in the Hollywood spotlight for decades, but now experts say they're becoming more mainstream.
And can you blame these fellas? How are you going to turn down a granny goon? These baddies will drink a beer with you and grab you whatever you need in the streets. If you have an issue with someone, you can send your personal granny goon to blow them down.
Ooh, a tattered body.
If you date one, you better be with all the action. Grandma goons are going to send you on countless missions hunting for their ops. There's nothing grandma goons love more than blowing down an op and then smoking his memory with the homies.
Look, they go there, they about to start clowning her, but she said smoking dead people. You already know that.
Hard over rolling wood.
Bro, let's get the lighter going though.
Smoking the dead op.
Smoking.
If you want any chance of cracking a grandma goon, you've got to catch a body. These grannies won't even talk to you unless you're a high-ranking gang member with a couple skulls under your belt. If you ever do become lucky enough to get into a relationship with a granny goon, once you start dating a granny goon, their ops become your ops. They're going to purchase you all the best choppas and blicks with switches, and they're going to send you on countless missions with your new switchy drilling on the ops. For a granny goon, they are not going to be satisfied until every op they have ever had is dead and rolled up in their backwood. But according to legend, there is no better top than Granny Goon Top after completing a mission. Another perk to dating a grandma goon is the fact that every grandma goon, when they're not drilling, are trapping on the side. All grandma goons trap and sell illegal substances. You're going to have access to the best blow bars, tree yerks, and lean.
Old enough to be a great grandmother, and she uses an oxygen tank, and she's an accused drug dealer.
Don't let the oxygen tank fool you. She will fire you up if you show any disrespect.
This is Lily Smith. The 84-year-old is charged with drug dealing and more. The Sheriff's Department says the charges stem from a 2011 warrant they served at this apartment complex in the Northeast Heights.
There were scales, money, narcotics, things of that nature that we generally find with drug trafficking.
The thing about granny goons is they're going to help you organize your trap house so you have higher profit margins.
Deputies say not only did she have cocaine and marijuana on her, but she tried to pull one over on them too.
When detectives were on scene, she did try to take the narcotics that she had on her person out and stash them.
If you're dating a grandma goon, you're going to have to eat that charge for her so your lady can keep running the streets. Fossilized drillers and dinosaur steppers are always underestimated and seen as an easy lick. Because of their age and grape-like skin, they appear to not be about that life. And for younger goons who are like sharks, they look at them like prey. Time after time, they go to the wrong old man's house and find themselves staring down the barrel of a wrinkled goon's Glock with a switch. And these goons are heartless. They are quick to let the hammer eat and fill you up with slugs.
California homeowner says he has no regrets after shooting and killing an unarmed woman who said she was pregnant. This after he got into a confrontation with her and another man who were ransacking his home.
Don't ransack a fossilized goon's home unless you want to be the new pack him and his boys are smoking on.
When the time comes to defend yourself, you best do something.
The words of the 80-year-old homeowner who confronted two robbers.
I walked in on them, and they downed me. They jumped on me in the hallway.
Luckily, this goon was strapped up and ready for all the action. They may have been smoking on an old man pack if it weren't for him getting his blower.
But Tom Greer says he managed to get his .22 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. He says when that unarmed couple saw his gun, they took off out the back door and he followed.
The lady didn't run fast as a man, so I shot her in the back twice. She's dead, and they told her off, but he got away. She says, "Don't shoot me, I'm pregnant with a baby," and I shot her anyway.
It later came out that this was Cap and she was never really pregnant. Fortunately, there was only one pack created that night. The female slow-running robber pack was really hitting for this goon.
And since then, there has been a swift and almost split reaction on social media sites. While some say they would have done exactly the same thing, others say gun owners don't have the right to shoot a robber outside their home.
Investigators have to look at both sides of this coin.
NBC legal analyst Royal Oakes tells us Long Beach detectives have much to consider.
And on the one hand, a frail man in his 80s, he's been attacked in his own home by intruders. He has a right to self-defense. On the other hand, he did shoot a person who was trying to get away, so he wasn't in imminent danger himself, and the law says you can't shoot somebody under those circumstances.
This dinosaur goon was smoking on a lady pack and hoping to catch the boyfriend so he can start puffing on a couple's pack.
Greer says he has no regrets and has a warning for the alleged partner in crime still wanted tonight.
I shot her, so that's going to leave a message on his mind.
Essentially, he's saying, I already smoked your girl, you better hope the police catch you, cause if it's me, you're going to be the next pack I'm smoking on.
Long Beach police say they are still investigating this.
And the dinosaur goon is still searching for the boyfriend so he can smoke on an OG couple's pack. This was just one of many different instances of fossilized goons blowing down their intruders.
A Birmingham man took the law into his own hands after being victim of repeated burglaries.
A 79-year-old John Croft says he felt like a prisoner in his own home. He says since June of last year, his home had been broken into 13 times.
Enough was enough.
After this goon kept getting his house broken into time after time, eventually he decides that the next fool that breaks into his house is turning into a pack.
Was enough. Wednesday night, he heard a noise of someone in his home again, and this time he was raped.
I had 3 bedrooms. I think they checked the other 2 bedrooms out, and then he came over there and he said, "Don't move." He heard the bed squeaking. I was getting my gun. He said, "I said don't move." And he used that N-word. I shot. Like I said, I had no choice.
And now bro was puffing on a racist pack.
Croft says he had lived his life hoping to never kill someone. Now he wrestles with reality through mixed emotions. In the gunfire, Croft was also shot in the ankle.
Officials, though, say Croft won't face any charges. He was well within his rights to defend himself and his property.
If you mess with a fossilized goon, don't be surprised if later that night you're being puffed on as a new strain of robber pack.
Breaks into his home. Evening, everybody. I'm Jack Atherton.
And I'm Jackie Congedo in for Cherie. Tonight, that 92-year-old man is talking to News 5's Brian Hamrick about killing the intruder. Brian, what did he have to say?
Even at the frail age of 92, this fossilized goon was still strapped up and ready for all the action.
Yeah, Jackie, well, this is a farmhouse. Men apparently broke in through the back door. Seems like they thought this 92-year-old man might be an easy target.
You've got a better chance of robbing your local plug than you do playing with a fossilized goon.
Well, that's what they thought until they got to the top of the stairs. Last night,
and I heard back, that was in the basement.
He had to defend his own living room.
It's a terrible way to have to live.
Earl Jones is a 92-year-old Air Force veteran.
Bro was a good shot and knew how to use his blower.
Thieves targeted his farm at least 3 times recently, stealing guns, money, even cattle.
You gotta turn someone into a pack when they steal your cattle.
This time, Earl woke up when he heard intruders in the cellar.
I said somebody down there, so I got my gun, come in, I sitting right here, and I heard him when he started up step.
Earl waited with his .22 rifle until the intruders were just on the other side of his basement door.
He kicked the door, and as soon as he got inside, it was all over.
Bro blew him down and was getting ready to try out his new pack at dinner time.
He came up, so this goes to the basement. He came up through here.
Yeah, well, he kicked the door open, and I said it was all over.
Earl fired a single shot and hit 24-year-old Lloyd Adam Maxwell of Richmond, Kentucky, in the chest. Police say Maxwell was carried off by two others, Ryan Dalton and Donnie Edemnit.
Fossilized goons are stuck in their ways and never plan on changing their gangsta lifestyle. Why get a regular 9-to-5 when you could easily rob a bank and get thousands?
A man wearing a face mask, green vest, and hard hat was busy. He wasn't working construction, but rather robbing banks in Denver.
Wrinkled goons have a reputation as the most elite bank robbers out there. They have zero fear and are all about the money. As long as you hand them the cash and follow orders, you'll be good, but if you get out of line, they will turn you into a bank teller pack.
4 banks and a taco shop, too.
If you're a frail goon, why would you pay for tacos when you can jack them for free?
5 robberies, some at gunpoint, captured on security cameras over the past 3 months. According to court records, federal investigators used cameras along his path, including on buses, to catch the robber unmasked.
This goon might have gotten a little greedy after getting away with a couple robberies. This old school driller wanted to keep testing his luck until he slipped up and showed himself on camera.
They made an arrest late last month. His name, Flazell Beasley, age 70.
He is your average fossilized jack boy.
We found Beasley worked as a security guard for a company that did contract work at banks.
Some of these stories are so ridiculous they don't sound real, but someone actually went through an interview process and without ever doing a background check hired this goon to work security at banks.
He was even briefly featured in the Denverite publication wearing a security hat while working outside a downtown Wells Fargo last year. Beasley was briefly interviewed about life after the pandemic.
Regular stuff for a dinosaur goon, a bunch of hunting ops, busting traps, and robbing banks.
Yeah, I would not have hired him for that position.
Wow, what a profound statement. Can you keep enlightening us with your knowledge?
We also found more about Beasley's past. Going back to the late 1970s, Beasley was convicted of shooting several people during robberies, including one person who died. Department of Corrections records tell us he spent 42 years in prison and was paroled in 2018.
Just look at the smirk on this man's face. Is this not a guy who loves nothing more in life than being a goon? So next time you're at your local bar and you see an older gentleman with a smirk, grab him a beer and be respectful, or you'll be the next pack he's smoking on.